Welcome back to Eric's Drink Whiskey. You already know who I am. Who's this guy?
My name is also Eric.
Alrighty.
And I didn't do my homework, so bear with me as we go through this. Eric, tell them what we're doing today.
Okay, so we're going to hop on this bandwagon because we haven't really done a bandwagon hopping in a long time. One of the most common things to do when you run out of ideas of stuff to drink is make lists. So that's what we're doing.
Yep.
So Eric and I are very passionate about the whiskey that we drink and why we drink it. But we don't necessarily go into why we drink certain things, and because we like to look for price point versus taste versus proof versus versus packaging. We even put in marketing in that. But one of the things that Eric and I have in common is our love of budget bourbon.
That's really why I got into this.
Yes.
And then I threw budget out the window.
So my definition of a budget bourbon, and so Eric and I are going to go through our top 5 budget bourbons. Now we each have a top 5 list. It'll be 10 total, or maybe some might be the same, but we don't know. But for him, what I call a budget bourbon. A budget bourbon is something you can find readily available.
Yep.
Under $25.
Yep.
And something you consider to be a great bang for your buck.
Yeah. So, caveat, we're using that price point for what we pay here in Florida, and then even what we know to pay in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Taxes on liquor vary state by state, so just know it may fluctuate by a few bucks, but all of these are, at least here, where we know a good bit of our followers are, under $25.
Right.
All right.
Starting off, we're going to go from our number 5 all the way to our number 1. So I'll start us off. My number 5 budget bourbon is Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. So that is $20 to $22, give or take.
Yeah.
It's 100 proof. Bottled and Bond.
Hell, you can get a handle for like 20, 25, 26.
Right. It's Bottled and Bond. It's Heaven Hill. To me, it does what it needs to do. It's versatile. You can drink it as is. You can drink it with ice. You can drink it in a cocktail, and it still tastes good.
Yep.
For 20-something bucks, it is one of the best buys out there. The reason I put that one there is because I am all encompassing the Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond bourbons under Evan Williams. Evan Williams you can find everywhere. The other ones you can't. So
that's true. Yeah.
That's JTS Brown.
Yep.
It's JW Dant. That's TW Samuels.
Okay.
So I'm putting all those all into one. So that would be my number 5. What's you, Eric?
My number 5
was going to be shocking for you.
Rebel 100.
Okay. Elucidate.
Rebel, so this is a fairly new one. The Rebel, well, initially it was Rebel Yell. They ditched the last part, obvious reasons. It's a formerly Lux Row, now whatever MGP's calling themselves.
It's like Squidbilly or something.
Yeah, the Squidbilly liquors. So, was it last year, 2 years ago, they came out with the Rebel 100. And it is $21.99, 100 proof, wheated bourbon.
Yep.
And it's actually pretty damn good. So that is my number. It's super tasty. It's got those classic wheated notes, like the grapey, bubblegummy, cinnamony stuff that I really enjoy in those. Now, sidebar, if you want to go a little bit higher, you can kind of find Rebel cask strength pretty easily now too, if you want a higher proof wheater, and for whatever reason you don't like Maker's Mark. So that's my number 5.
Okay. Number 4.
Quattro.
Benchmark Top Floor.
Ooh.
So, people who know me, not a huge fan of Buffalo Trace products. In the Bourbon Society that I'm in Southwest Florida, aptly named Southwest Florida Bourbon Society.
I wonder why.
We did a tasting of the full Benchmark lineup. And that would be Benchmark Single Barrel, benchmark top floor, benchmark bottled and bond, benchmark foolproof.
Yeah.
So 5 whiskeys.
Foolproof's pretty good.
The top floor is 90 proof.
They're all sub 25, aren't they?
Yeah. I think the foolproof might be the most expensive, but it's sub 25.
Yeah.
But they're all about $20.
Now,
They're all readily available now.
Now that's retail, so because it's a Buffalo Trace product, you may find it in the wild marked up some.
Right.
That's not our fault. Don't come bitching us about it.
But we tasted every single one of those, and not even blind. And the 2 that won amongst all of the tasting people was the top floor and the foolproof. Like, I figured the foolproof would win, but like the top floor was
really good.
The top floor beat out the single barrel, which is 100 proof.
Yeah.
And it also beat out the bottled and bond, which is 100 proof.
Huh.
It tasted very syrupy, very caramelly. It was not grainy whatsoever. And for a $20 bourbon,
sold.
It was pretty damn good.
Nice. I didn't even think of those.
Yeah.
I do want to get the rest of that vertical and do a
little shootout.
Yeah.
Number 4.
My number 4. Evan Williams Bottled and Bond.
Yeah.
It's just good.
Just good.
It's everything you want in good bourbon. It's vanilla, caramel, brown sugar. It's young enough. You still got a little bit of corniness, but because it's bottled and bond, it's old enough. You get a little dustiness. 100 proof, so it's got some chops to it. You can mix it. You can throw it on ice. You can drink it neat. You can use it to cut other whiskeys without affecting the proof. It's just good.
We both agree that Evan Williams Bottled and Bond is a staple in our household.
Yes. Yes, it is.
All right.
Trace.
Number 3. Old Granddad Bottled and Bond.
Ah, OGD.
OGD. Old Granddad Bottled and Bond is Jim Beam's high rye bourbon.
Yep.
They are not one to display their mash bills, but we can guesstimate. But it is higher rye than their normal bourbon, which their normal bourbon is usually in that 75-78% corn, 10, whatever. It's hovering around there. It's the same mash bill as Basil Hayden's.
Yep.
And it is $20.
Yep.
It's 100 proof.
Yep.
It's 4 years old.
Yep.
And it's $20 less than Basil Hayden's and 20 proof points higher.
Yep.
And that's why Basil Hayden's sucks. And you should always buy Old Granddad Bottled and Bond. It's a good whiskey.
Unless
you
want to buy Old Granddad 114.
Which is 30. Right. That would have been on here if it had been for $30.
Over 25.
Yes. But Old Granddad Bottled and Bond, damn good whiskey at $20 and a little different taste profile.
That's a good one. My number 3 is, if you've paid attention to the decor of this room at all over the last 3 years, it comes as no surprise. Maker's Mark.
Maker's Mark.
Is it the highest proof? No. It's what, 90?
90.
90? It's a weeder. Good flavor profile.
Do you have an actual Maker's?
Yeah, it's somewhere back there.
90, right at the round dot.
How old is it? We don't know. The official story is it's as old as it should be to taste like Maker's Mark.
Guesstimate 4 to 5.
Yeah, it's not super young. It's got some age to it, and it's good. It's a good mixer. It's a good sipper. It's a good cocktail. It's good on the rocks. This is good. A good flask. I like Maker's Mark.
All right,
as you can see.
Number 2. So I'm using this one as a substitute because the other one that was very similar to this product got phased out. Old Tub Bottled and Bond replaced Jim Beam Bonded.
Did it really?
It did. Jim Beam Bonded is slowly being phased out. Old Tub Bottled and Bond is using it as the place. It's still $25 and lower.
Yeah.
The difference between it And the Jim Beam bonded is it is non-chill filtered.
Non-chill filtered. I think we did this as a video, right? Old Tub and Beam bonded.
Yep, we did a video.
I love Old Tub.
Go check it out.
I was gonna put it on my list, but when
It's
I went
25-ish.
when I went and looked it up, the like 4 places that popped up in Google Shopping, it was like 27. I was like, God damn it.
That's fine. We can give that one. But yeah, $25 the last time I paid for it.
It's delicious.
It's great.
So
whiskey.
good.
It's another Beam product, but it kind of pays homage to one of the original whiskeys that Beam used to do. So
it's if you are a fan of the Beam peanut taste,
it's
like straight peanut brittle.
Yeah, I always us Southerners, we know about RC Cola and a moon pie, but putting peanuts in a Coke. I'm not that Southern. Putting peanuts in a Coke. And then maybe adding the old tub to it. Oh, very nice. So that's my number 2.
My number 2 is Evan Williams 1783.
Oh, there we go.
I was
about to say which one.
I prefer the OG.
Mm-hmm.
It was last year they changed up the recipe. So Evan Williams 1783 used to be 86 proof, like something ridiculous, like $12.
Oh, it's stupid, yeah.
The accepted story was that it was like the cast-offs of like your old Elijah Craig's and older Heaven Hill products. It definitely has some age to it.
There was no youth in that bottle.
I'm actually drinking it right now. Last year, they Heaven Hill upped the proof points from 86 to 90, and relabeled the bottle. So it used to be like a real like sketchy looking
tear label, old school.
Yeah, it
looked like a knee knocker bottle.
So like they classed up the bottle, a super classy bottle, upped the proof points. But what they also did was, and you can taste it, is lower the blend of the ages. So it's definitely it's not as old of a blend as it used to be.
Heaven Hill's been recently putting out more higher age stated limited releases, so we have a theory that that's where the older stock is going.
Actually, talking about blends of Evan Williams 100, one of my decanter blends was the old 1783 and Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, because like that gave the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond enough age that it was like, okay, this is pretty nice. And then it kept that proof to cut it down to probably about mid-90s.
Oh, 100%.
No, about 90%.
No.
And essentially now the new Evan Williams 1783 tastes like that blend. It's a blend of a younger and an older, but it's at that higher proof. But it's still really good for what, $16?
Yeah. Oh,
it's still pretty ridiculous price.
It's like it's the for a lower proof. It's like the churched up version of Evan Williams Bottled and Bond.
Yeah,
it's like a little fancy if you want to be fancier, I guess.
La-di-da.
So let's head to our number 1. I have not looked at Eric's list and he has not looked at mine, but I will take a stab in the dark that we have the same exact number 1.
I guarantee you we do.
Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. Wild Turkey 101. Yes. So, I am a Wild Turkey fanboy, and I rip this stuff every damn night by the handle. Wild Turkey 101 is $23.
Yep.
Reportedly 6 to 8 years old.
I buy that.
Give or take.
Tastes like it.
It's 101 proof.
Yep.
And it's just good whiskey.
It's good.
I have never, of all the the flack that the collegiate level of frat boys that got sick on Wild Turkey, all these whiskeys that we talked about, we have found flaws in of like a grain note.
Yeah.
I don't get grain notes in Wild Turkey 101.
Nope.
Like it's one of like describing 101 is almost like the Supreme Court trying to describe what pornography is. I can't exactly tell you what it is, but I know when I see it. I can't exactly tell you what the taste profile of Wild Turkey 101 is.
It just is.
But I know I know when I taste it.
So for me, and I've talked about this several times, like my introduction to bourbon was stuff like Woodford Reserve, which was just too sweet. Which was why when I finally got hooked on some of the older Heaven Hill stuff that had that nice oaky bite, that I was like, yep, this is it. Problem is that old stuff is either $35, $40. You can't find it, but you can find Wild Turkey everywhere.
I feel like 101 is a great middle ground of the extremes of the flavors that you get in a bourbon.
Yeah.
Like if we're going on whiskeys that I love, I tend to be lower proof than the average bourbon nerd.
Yeah.
And oakier. 90 to 100 and oakier tends to be what I like.
Yep.
Eric's a little different.
I can drink it hot, but I want it oaky. In fact, one of the ones that I like the most is one that you can't stand, and it was that old Blowhard.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's so over oak, but like it's so good. I like to taste the oak, and I like a high rye bourbon too.
Right.
And it's not a high rye like we think of now with like Old Grandad, where you're talking 35% rye. But Wild Turkey, assumedly, is a little bit higher rye than your normal.
You get an accentuation of the rye in that whiskey versus the other ones. The other ones is what I would describe as like Kentucky gentleman bourbon. Like it's, you know, yeah, like you know, if I was sitting on my damn plantation with some suspenders and a you know straw fedora and pour me in a glass and watching my tobacco farm grow, that's what I would describe a bourbon. Is all the other ones that we talked about. This one is what I would describe as like it's everybody's taste. What everybody likes in a bourbon
pulls it, yeah.
Pulled in.
It's not traditional caramel brown sugar, vanilla. It's not those notes. I mean, they're there, but it's more than that. It's
right.
Like weird cherry cola and pound. It's so bizarre, but it's so good.
And I'd prove too. Why is it 101 and not Bald and Bond? Because I remember this as an urban legend that Jimmy Russell said "F you" to the government.
That checks out.
He put just another proof point on it to keep it from being Bald and Bond.
I'd buy that.
But anywho, that's our top 5 budget bourbons, 25 and under, readily available. You can find these, all of them. The Benchmark might be the toughest, but it is more available now.
Yep.
Than it has been, and it's not in a hoarding allocation status. Right. Like it is out there.
Yeah.
But great whiskeys. I drink all of those that he's got, and vice versa.
Yeah, yours is a good list. I'm kind of bummed I didn't pick a couple of them.
Would you expect any less?
I wouldn't expect any less.
But anywho, alrighty. I'm Eric.
And I'm Eric.
Please like, share, and subscribe.